What is that?
They say they want to
Rescue?
rescue U.S. airman.
Ah.
But now they say maybe they rescue but two helicopters go down. Another two airplanes also down. But the Donald Trump say everything okay.
Who want to rescue?
U.S. rescue their airmen because they are F-15 shot down by the Iranian.
How to rescue the place is not there. How to rescue that one? Of course, the one who rescue one.
Ran and rescue, but the people waiting for him.
I saw one.
Now they say maybe this one is not rescue, they want to drop the uranium. Then fail, then they say it's a rescue.
Hero one. Want to become a hero. The pilot is a woman na. Wa không saiเลยอ่ะ
The major.
ไม่ใช่เลยโอ
This other one is a seat. The seat are soon up. Then ID. Black của nó giàu.
อ๋อ
Same but can find a school there. Bone. Bone.
สิ ได้ already มั้ย
Some the Iranian Pangay. We don't know whether it's true or propaganda. But this one really is the airplane. First time I see America lost a inside a war. Never before.
عملیات امداد و نجات خلبان جنگنده ثابت شدید. به دنبال تلاش‌های مضمون مذبوحانه ارتش تروریستی آمریکا به منظور عملیات امداد و نجات خلبان جنگنده ثابت شده خود تعدادی از هواگردهای دشمن در بامداد 16 فروردین 1405 وارد کشور عزیزمان ایران شدند. با یاری و نصرت محاصره دشمن توسط رزمندگان محرمان ایران اسلامی، دشمن زبون به منظور جلوگیری از بی‌آبرویی تهران، رئیس جمهور آمریکا و هیمنه پوشالی ارتش خود مجبور به بمباران شدید هواگردهای ثابت شده، تجهیزات و فرماندهان شدند. با قدرت جنود الهی و مشت فولادی رزمندگان
Some things aren't meant to be shared. Meet screenshare. The world's first AI privacy display. Divide your screen. Sure. The best part, it's also handphone. Your privacy yours, it's a Samsung.
The photo is a woman, Amanda. His name is called Amanda. Actually, it's a her, not him.
New footage has just emerged that is sending shockwaves online. Iranian police opening fire with heavy guns at U.S. helicopters during a daring rescue deep inside Iran. This isn't a drill. These were live rounds aimed at American forces trying to save downed airmen. On April 3rd, 2026, the U.S. F-15
She want to become a hero also lah.
If we fight China, no risk. Cannot fight.
just Russia, is another big power ally now quietly helping Iran fight this war from behind the scenes. Are Chinese firms feeding Iran live intel on US carrier movements and aircraft buildups, giving Tehran a clearer picture of Washington's strike plans? Is Xi Jinping effectively helping Mujtaba reconstitute Iran's missile program in the middle of the war? And have multiple Chinese ships already delivered tactical Iran used to build solid fuel missiles, tightening Beijing's grip on the battlefield from afar? Social media investigators have exposed that China-linked firms are helping Iran with detailed intelligence on US military movements, according to recent reports. Viral online tracking of US bases and deployments, including near real-time maps and graphics, was highlighted in an April 5th report based on Washington Post findings. The data being shared has included US carrier group locations and aircraft buildups ahead of strike operations on Tehran and other targets. Analysts say this information is being passed on to Iran's military and political leadership, effectively boosting Tehran's situational awareness of US moves. The intelligence pipeline reportedly originates from specialized Chinese analytics companies that package and sell these products. Many of these firms are believed to have links to the People's Liberation Army or China's wider military ecosystem, despite being formally private. They compile open source streams from commercial satellites, shipping databases, and flight tracking tools to build a detailed picture of US operations. Artificial intelligence systems are then used to fuse this data, map US deployments, and try to predict likely next moves, creating a form of outsourced targeting support. Separately, China has also been accused of helping Iran rebuild and expand its missile program during the ongoing conflict. Multiple reports say shipments of sodium chlorate, carried on Iranian-linked vessels from Chinese ports, have arrived at Iranian terminals in recent months. Sodium chlorate is a key precursor for producing solid rocket fuel used in many types of ballistic missiles, making these deliveries strategically significant. Some analysts suggest that corruption or profit-seeking inside PLA-linked networks could be enabling commercial intelligence sales and dual-use exports that benefit Iran. As a result, China is increasingly seen as the second major power backing Iran's war effort after Russia, through data, technology, and critical materials. Earlier reporting showed that Moscow has already been sharing intelligence on US ships, aircraft, and bases with Iran, giving Tehran another powerful external source of targeting data.
Yeah, China help identify the target and I believe so because the China got the satellite you can analyze.
Of course lah. You want other people to go and bully your neighbor man, right? US out.
Say you in I won from
Siao.
the behind.
We are here to protect you. We are trained professional.
Ask China to sell the diesel.
Cook the kangkong. Masak kangkong. Kangkong di tepi jalan. Pick up the kangkong in the roadside.
Welcome to Xiangqi, also known as Chinese chess. Xiangqi has its similarities to international chess.
Chinese
There are
chess.
several pieces that people play very differently. In Xiangqi, pieces rest not on squares but on the intersections of a grid. Whereas the international chessboard is 8x8, the Xiangqi board is 9x10. This means that there are 90 positions in Chinese chess versus 64 in international chess, which often makes movement in Xiangqi feel more open than in international chess. Another key difference is that the initial piece layout in Xiangqi is completely symmetrical around the middle planet, whereas the placement of the king and queen in international chess break this symmetry. This difference simplifies opening theory in some aspects, as certain moves are identical to each other due to symmetry. Bisecting the board is the river. The back rank of each side of the board has a box, 3 by 3 lines, called a palace, marked by diagonal lines. Some pieces have unique interactions with the river and the palace, which we'll go over as we examine each piece. Xiangqi, like international chess, uses a point system to rate the relative value of pieces. There are 5 soldiers, which are most similar to pawns in international chess. Initially, the soldier can move forward 1 position at a time. They capture by moving directly forward into a piece. Once the soldier crosses the river in the center of the board, the pawn can then move and capture forward or sideways, 1 spot at a time. Unlike the pawn in international chess, the soldier does not get promoted to another piece when it reaches the last rank. The soldier is worth 1 point before the river and 2 points after it has crossed the river. While the board is bigger in Xiangqi, there are fewer pawns. In international chess, players must first maneuver their pawns around in order to make way for the back line. However, in Xiangqi, due to the lack of pawns, players may begin developing their more powerful pieces much earlier, often leading to faster-paced games. The horse moves similarly to a knight in international chess.
เอ้ย
In Xiangqi, the horse moves 1 position
Pa,
orthogonally
pa, pa,
and
pa,
then continues
pa.
to 1 position diagonally.
Panay the Guyana. He don't want he don't want anybody to help
There's
him
a
on
piece next to the
cheeky
horse
cheeky
that
chow
is blocking its leg, and it will block the horse's movement to positions that would require the horse to move through the occupied space. The horse captures by landing directly on top of a piece. The horse is worth 4 points. The chariot is analogous to the rook in international chess and is the most powerful piece in Xiangqi. The chariot can move orthogonally as far as there are open positions, and it captures an opponent piece by landing on it. The chariot is worth 9 points. The general, analogous to the king in international chess, is the most important piece in Xiangqi, and the goal of the game is to checkmate your opponent's general, just like in international chess. The general moves orthogonally 1 position at a time, and he is restricted to moving within the palace. The 2 opposing generals cannot face each other across the board without pieces between them. This is called the flying general rule. This rule means that generals can actually be used offensively to block the opposing general from moving into certain positions. The cannon is unique to Xiangqi and has no international chess equivalent. It is a very powerful piece. It moves like a chariot orthogonally as many positions as are open. The unique thing about the cannon is how it captures opponent pieces. The cannon must jump over a piece, which can be from either army, along its path and then land on its victim to capture it. The cannon is worth 4.5 points. Advisors also have no international chess equivalent. There are 2, 1 on each side of the king. The advisors are restricted to the palace around the general. The advisor can move diagonally 1 position at a time. It captures by moving directly into a piece. The advisor is worth 2 points. The elephant is similar to a bishop. It moves diagonally exactly 2 positions. The elephant's movement can be blocked by an intervening piece along its path. Additionally, the elephant cannot cross the river, making it mostly a defensive piece. However, it can capture pieces by landing directly on top of them. The elephants are often used in conjunction to protect each other, 1 in front of the palace, the other to the side, and to protect the general. The elephant is worth 2 points. The elephant is also where Xiangqi gets its name. Xiang is elephant in Chinese, and Qi means game, hence Xiangqi. We hope you found this video helpful. You can learn more in Xiangqi.com's help section, and of course, you can always learn by playing games on Xiangqi.com with their Xiangqi engine or with other players on the site. Hope to see you there soon!
Chinese chess. Play. The object of the game is to get your opponent's general in a position where it is left with no option but to be captured in the next move. This is called a checkmate. Lay out the board, and each player picks a color and places their pieces on the intersecting lines as shown. Take note that the symbols for each color are slightly different. On each side of the board, against the back edge, is a 3x3 area with an X shape that is called the palace. In the center of the board, dividing the two opposing sides, is the river. Pieces may cross the river unless their movement says otherwise. Pick a player to go first, then turns alternate. On your turn, you must move one piece, then your opponent goes. Pieces can capture opponent's pieces by using their normal moves and landing on a point occupied by an enemy piece. Captured pieces are removed from the game and may no longer be used. The general may move only one point either vertically or horizontally, but not diagonally, and is confined to the 9 points within the palace. Also, a general may not move into a column which is occupied by the enemy general unless there is at least one piece positioned in between. The guard moves one point diagonally and is confined to the palace. The elephant moves exactly 2 points in any diagonal direction and may not jump over intervening pieces or cross the river. The horse moves 1 point horizontally or vertically to a vacant point, and then 1 point diagonally. It may not jump another piece. The chariot moves as many points as it wishes horizontally or vertically. It cannot jump over pieces in its path. The cannon moves as many points as it wishes horizontally or vertically. To capture, however, a cannon must jump over exactly one piece of any color along its line of movement. The soldier moves 1 point forward towards the enemy side of the board. Once a soldier has crossed the river, it is allowed to move 1 point forward or 1 point horizontally. A soldier may never move backwards.
In a major escalatory strike, the Iranian IRGC launched a big attack on U.S. military, wounding over a dozen soldiers. According to reports, 15 American troops were injured in Kuwait, while the strike also reportedly destroyed critical U.S. military infrastructure, signaling a dangerous shift from proxy confrontations to direct, sustained attacks on American forces in one of the world's most volatile regions. According to CBS News, at least 15 American soldiers were wounded in a drone attack on Ali Al Salem Air Base in Kuwait, a critical hub for U.S. military operations, located just 37 kilometers from the Iraqi border. Citing 2 American officials, CBS News reports that most of the injured personnel sustained light wounds and have already returned to duty. A but the strike highlights the increasing frequency and precision of attacks targeting key U.S. installations across the Gulf. This development comes as U.S. Central Command confirms that a total of 373 American service members have been wounded since the beginning of the Iran operation, with approximately 330 returning to duty, while several remain in serious condition, reflecting the sustained human cost of the conflict. Meanwhile, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, has announced that during the second phase of Wave 98 of Operation True Promise 4, it carried out missile and drone strikes on the U.S. Al-Adari base in Kuwait, claiming to have destroyed helicopter storage facilities and troop accommodation units in a precise and calculated operation. At the same time, U.S. command and control centers at...
Well, let's talk about this F-15 and what has been on the past 48 hours. There's been a bevy of misinformation that's being spread from a lot of different people. But what we do know is that there is a number of U.S. aircraft that were down, destroyed, and take a look at your screen to see exactly what we're talking about.
Well, the question is, why is the U.S. victory lapping this rescue mission when it is essentially an admission that they've been flying over Iranian airspace? We were shot down. The president says this sometimes. They still have some stuff. We destroyed most of their stuff, but this is the way he said it today. We destroyed most of their stuff, but they shot down one of our planes because they still do have some stuff. And they sometimes get lucky. So let's ask the question.
Every detail designed to perform right on time.
Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. In today's video, become a stronger Shang-Chi.
Donald Trump's unlawful and catastrophic war in Iran continues to escalate. Over the weekend, Donald Trump posted an expletive-laced social media post where he says, "Open the effing straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell just..."
The Chinese might just be too kind by 4 seconds. All I'm saying is, this is the same conversation as with the cars. People keep underestimating Chinese cars. People keep underestimating all these Chinese companies. Keep doing that. They're gonna eat your lunch.
这些年，在很多人的印象里，一提到高端摩托车、精密机械，首先想到的往往还是欧美和日本品牌，而中国制造常常被低估，甚至默认只能走性价比路线。但这一次，随着张雪机车在国际赛道上的神奇表现，越来越多海外博主开始发现， 事情可能已经变了。下面这两段视频，一位是旅居英国的华人博主，一位是英国本地的专业机车博主。虽然身份不同，立场不同，但他们都表达了同样的震撼。华人博主看到张雪机车夺冠之后，整个人的兴奋和自豪压都压不住，而英国的机车博主站在更懂行的角度，直接把这场胜利称作近年摩托车赛场上绝无仅有的奇迹时刻。让我们来看看他们都是怎么评价这件事。
张雪机车现在让世界破防了。我跟你说，最近的世界摩托车锦标赛，张雪机车夺了双冠，大家听过吗？你们肯定现在都在说他历史人生，我也很钦佩他。但是啊，全网这么多人说，我发现没有给我说明白，你们没说到点上。我跟你说，最后一点在哪？就是全球工业的话语。说白了，现在全球精密工业最后一张这项目现在被扯下来。现在我跟你说，总结下来，我跟你说，三点：第一，那就是数；第二，那就是精密工业的信仰；第三，也是最要紧的，全球网友的吐槽。第一点，你就速度。我跟你说啊，张雪这一次在第一轮的时候快了多少秒？你知道吗？3.685秒，但在摩托车赛场上快0.1秒，那是第一和第二之争；快0.5秒是第一梯队和第二梯队之争。快1秒，开玩笑，那简直是断崖式的，根本都没人比。如果快4秒的话，后面吃了尾气都吃不上一口热。我跟你说，跑不跑4秒，你都能跑出一大截来，你都跟我说摩托车就一直就过去。没有这样，那以前4秒的时候，外媒有多么阴险，连个正的镜头都不给他，因为这是摩托用的那是大炮式的引擎，直接把它打的地上10件擦。第二，什么精密机械，那其实说白了，日本人说的工匠精神，一辈子只做一件事。什么300个小时纯手工打造的钛合金器皿，我跟你说，现在因为他怕打脸，你说的工匠精神，你能精细能比得过全自动化生产线的精细？不可能！你跟我说烧菜，你说全工匠精神，我也相信，一辈子做一件事，我也相信。但是说做到工业制造这一块，我那个呸！我不瞒你说，江浙50年，张雪说了，什么杜卡迪，什么雅马哈，全世界等等那些国际大牌的摩托车配额，起码我们把吃到50%以上，大家拭目以待。所以说，不要一说到中国汽车就呸一顿，说到现在摩托车，说我们中国电车有这没法，但是现在精密化的摩托车，这是他们最快胜利被我们放在地上吸引的。你知道这个的含金量了吗？第三，全球网友的吐槽，英国网友最搞笑，说天哪，花了5万块钱摩托车，现在比他们几十万块钱开的太多了。这个觉得呢，这是一种什么样的体验？就好比说，你们永远都看不上的比亚迪秦 PLUS，但是在纽北的赛道上比保时捷911车，开的还要快得多得多，这简直对他们来说就是一种啪里。以前嘛，有比亚迪远超全世界各类性能车，大家不敢相信，这代表着一个中国汽车时代的崛起。现在有张雪机车碾压世界一众机械性那种赛场的车，那我跟你说，我们还有什么东西让你们把他们接着碾压？请你们在评论区里面告诉我。所以说，你们讲，不要动不动就唱衰我们自己的企业，我们一定要支持本国企业，我们的国家才能有更多行业在世界的领跑，在世界上领先。中国制造的崛起是我们每个中国人脸上的面子。兄弟们节目说不说是我的事，听不听是你的事。
Well, I know I came back after Phillip Island to just say how impressed I was with the ZX Moto, ZX Moto. Jury's still out whether it's a Z or a Z at the moment, whatever. Performance there in the hands of Valentine D's. And then Portugal happened. Let's be honest, he creamed them in race 1. He absolutely creamed them in race 1. Race 2, a little bit closer, but a bit shenanigans between the R9s and the Ducati D2s. You know, for manufacturers that have been competing in this class basically since it began, decades and decades ago, with decades of production bike after production bike, moving things on, getting better, and here comes these guys. Wallop. When has this happened before? When has a brand new manufacturer with a brand new bike come into racing and just been like, here you go, bam, wins. Maybe Ducati with the 916 when that first turned up, but still Ducati had a lot of racing history. You could say Honda's RC, the first V5 in MotoGP, but then again, decades of experience. Yes, that was a brand new bike, turned up in a brand new class with one of everyone. Again, decades of experience beforehand. Maybe some of the KTMs in the lower classes, because they came in and did quite well quite quickly. Maybe. But in recent years, a production bike that's turned up in production racing and front rode it at the first race, then front rode it at the second race, and then won both races. Can't think of many can do. This is unreal. And all it means right now is I want one. I want one. I'm on the case. Gotta get my hands on one of them. Tip my hat to the ex-Kobe man. I said to my first video that he was Kobe that he founded. And this is just unreal. And if you see the videos of them watching the racing back in China and him crying because he was like, oh my god, I can't believe we've done it. Oh, could you imagine? Can you imagine? And this is just World Supersport. Next year we've got CF Moto coming in, and apparently CF Moto have offered Alex Rins and Franco Morbidelli huge contracts to move to World Supersport.
按在地上摩擦，而另一位泰国网红则从性能和参数层面，把张雪机车为什么能赢，而且为什么能赢得这么轻松讲解得非常具体。一个讲的是趋势，一个讲的是实力，但他们最后其实都在说明同一件事。张雪机车这次让海外真正破防的，不只是夺冠本身，而是它让越来越多人开始意识到，中国制造在高端机车领域可能已经不是追赶者了。来看影片。
Chinese bike just beat Ducati by 4 seconds. The company is called ZX Motors. It's a brand new company essentially. Started in like 2024 in Chongqing. Apparently, from what I gathered, their bike wasn't even supposed to be in the race this year. They were only going to be there to test out their bikes. The Italian team talked them into entering. This is their second race weekend ever. I mean, they beat Ducati, they beat Yamaha, they beat a fucking fleet, bro, by 4 seconds. And also, may I remind you, the company started in 2024, and their first bike didn't even ship until April of last year. So you have a company that's barely 1 year old, humiliating manufacturers that have been doing this for fucking, what, 50, 60, 100 years? I don't fucking know. And the guys that were watching from Chongqing, bro, they were crying. Like, bro, I mean, honestly, I fucking feel it. Imagine something that you just started, like, literally a year ago or 2 years ago, and you were able to win and beat Ducati. All I'm saying is, this is the same conversation as with the cars. People keep underestimating Chinese cars. People keep underestimating all these Chinese companies. Keep doing that. They're gonna fucking eat your lunch.
ZX Moto เชือดทั้งญี่ปุ่นเชือดทั้งยุโรปคารายการ WSFP ที่สนามปอร์ติเมาครับแล้ววันนี้ก็มาถึงนะครับผมรถสัญชาติจีนนะครับแบรนด์จีน 100% นะครับเชือดทั้ง Yamaha R9 เชือดทั้ง Ducati Panigale V2 นะครับที่สนามปอร์ติเมาประเทศโปรตุเกสนะครับณรายการ WSFP ครับผมต้องบอกว่าแบรนด์นี้เพิ่งก่อตั้งได้ไม่นานนะครับและนี่ก็เป็นครั้งแรกครับที่เข้าร่วมรายการ World Super Sport นะครับผมรายการระดับโลกครั้งแรกของเขาเลยครับโดยรถที่ใช้นะครับมันชื่อว่า ZX Moto 820R ครับแล้วมันไม่ได้ชนะธรรมดาด้วยนะครับมันถึงกับขนาดทิ้งห่างเนี่ยไอ้เจ้าDucati Panigale V2 Yamaha R9 เนี่ยถึง 3.6 วิด้วยกันนะครับ 3.6 วิต้องบอกว่าโคตรห่างเลยครับและถ้าไปดูถึงขุมกำลังของมันเนี่ยต้องบอกเลยนะครับว่าไม่น่าแปลกใจครับว่าทำไมมันถึงโหดขนาดนี้ครับโดยเจ้า ZX 820RR นะครับมีความจุกระบอกสูบอยู่ที่ 821 ซีซีครับเป็นเครื่องยนต์3สูบระบายความร้อนด้วยน้ำนะครับผมและมีขุมพลังแรงม้าถึง 150 ตัวนะครับที่ 14,500 รอบต่อนาทีครับผมต้องบอกว่าเป็นเครื่องยนต์3สูบที่รอบโคตรจะลึกเลยครับผมและแรงบิดนะครับอยู่ที่ 95 นิวตันแถมยังแรงบิดเยอะอีกต่างหากเอากับเขาสิและความเร็วสูงสุดนะครับที่เขาเคลมไว้นะครับอยู่ที่ 280 กิโลเมตรต่อชั่วโมงนะครับต้องบอกว่ามันปีศาจชัดๆเลยครับผมต้องบอกว่าน่าทึ่งมากครับน้ำหนักเนี่ยอยู่ที่ 173 กิโลกรัมนะครับผมนี่รวมของเหลวนะ180 กิโลเมตรต่อชั่วโมงนะครับต้องบอกว่ามันปีศาจชัดๆเลยครับผมและน้ำหนักเนี่ยต้องบอกว่าน่าทึ่งมากครับน้ำหนักเนี่ยอยู่ที่ 173 กิโลกรัมแข่งกันหลายค่ายนะครับต้องบอกว่าเป็นอีกหนึ่งแบรนด์ที่น่าจับตามองมากเลยครับเป็นแบรนด์ที่เจอนะครับแต่มาลูกคงหมดสิ่งที่เราได้ต่อไปนะครับว่าในรายการนี้เขาจะมาได้ใครนะครับ
大家看完这个感受一下直接的。 就是这样。早些年，很多人觉得国产车只能靠便宜和配置，缺乏核心技术。但事实证明，成功的人将智能化。中国车企一步步改变了整个行业的结构。现在大家去观察外国人，西方人讨论中国的问题，没有任何一个人抱着那种高高在上的态度，他们站在工程腿上，不愿意完全承认，但私下里都在难明白的去拆解研究，甚至想尽办法进行技术勒索。他们心里很清楚，中国汽车是绝对无法被忽视的对手。现在汽车领域也发生了同样的情况，就是当我们整上这么多海外关系后呢，原因包括他考虑了杜卡迪和雅马哈，正因为他打破了很多人过去根深蒂固的刻板印象。过去西方人总觉得高科机械和新的经济天生就属于西方的资本，中国只适合做中低端产品。但现实一直在证明，这种想法彻底过时了。中国制造的核心优势早就跨越了当前的低价。我们一旦进入某个行业，就能在极短的时间内把成本、效率、技术迭代和产业链优势全部发挥出来。只要我们进场，整个赛道的竞争规则就会被改写。我个人看完最大的感慨是，中国的产业崛起早就全面铺开了。以前有光伏、无人机，后来又有新能源车和电池，现在又加上了两个工业底蕴的机车。过去被西方认为门槛最高、最需要技术累积的领域，中国都在交出实打实的成绩。中国汽车给了西方一次震撼，现在汽车又给了一次，未来肯定还会有第三次、第四次。因为现在的世界正在被迫接受一个新现实，那个曾经总被唱衰、被认为只能模仿的中国制造，已经频繁地站到了全球产业竞争的最前台，并且开始自己制定新的行业标准。对于很多西方人来说，出掉一场比赛本身也许算不上多难受，真正让他们感到不安的原因是以后这种对中国意志力震撼的画面只会越来越多。提起日本，林老这里是不是总是举头微笑，还有那种听着耳朵起茧子的斯利马赛？但我告诉你，别被骗了，日本人看起来平平无奇，不过是一场为了享受而进行的职业表演。在这张伪善的面具下，藏着的是你想象不到的压抑和虚伪。日本人真的没有你想的那么有礼貌。首先，我们听听日本人自己怎么说。这是一个对自己国家彻底失望的日本人，他撕开了所谓的安全与和谐的遮羞布，你能从他的语言情绪中清晰地感受到他的愤怒，以及对于自己作为日本人的身份都感到羞耻。
I'm sorry, this needs to be said, but when you see those videos talking about how Japanese people are so polite, they're so nice, that's propaganda. In order to survive on this godforsaken island, you need to understand it's not that Japanese people are somehow more polite than other ethnicities, it's that their fate is fucked. And I'm Japanese, I can say that. So as you know, people are having babies, and our birth rate is dying. So there's been programs like this
guys ng kangkong sa tabi ng daan.
It's not over the counter. You need a prescription.
Magluto tayo guys ng kangkong sa tabi ng daan.
Consulted by everything going. But now there's been a push to actually start making it more accessible, not for reproductive rights, but because people are afraid of rising essay cases with the increase of borders. So yeah, Japanese people are polite to your face, but then they go and vote for far-right parties like Sanseto that are extremely anti-immigration. Now we need to stop conflating Nintendo with Japan as a country.
When I was in Japan, they never talk about why I really hate Japan. First, physical point. Most Japanese people are just pretend to be kind, to be nice, to be polite. They are endless prejudice. If you visit Japan, maybe you will have a good impression of Japanese people. They're always saying, they never say bad things, they're always kind and polite, but they're just trying to be friendly, maybe rowdy, maybe another of the truth. Even when they say a word to you, like, oh, this is okay, oh, this is wonderful, you're so kind, no, thank you, that's just ridiculous. We have this Japanese expression, hara glory. Hara means stomach. Glory, kurori means dark. Stomach is dark. But that means people look so polite and kind and nice, but inside being so dark and thinking bad things. I feel like most Japanese people are wearing the mask. They never show their true feelings or true thinking. So it's very stressful to talk to Japanese people because they always say lying. So yeah, don't live in Japanese people. When I was little, my dream was to be an artist. But most people said to me that is not possible. Like that, most Japanese people say dream won't come true. If we don't believe and follow the dream, what should we do? Is it real life? But most Japanese people really hate people who have dreams. In conclusion, Japanese people are not so nice, but most of them are terrible. 那种被动攻击的冷漠感就会扑面而来。他们的礼貌不是发自内心的尊重，而是一种冷冰冰的保持距离的演技。一旦你看穿了这场表演，真的就再也回不去了。最后还得是咱们中国人看得最透彻。这位博主一针见血，指出了日本人最核心的问题：在小事上脱裤子放屁，在大事上却吹了大哥。
我刚来日本的时候啊，就发现日本人非常的有礼貌，对他印象特别的好，给你鞠躬啊、说话呀，都恨不得插你裤裆上。你看小个不高一点，1.56米的小个，但是呢，我在时间长了，就发现了不对劲儿。日本人没事就是背后调对话打小报告。如果你知道之后发现他打小报告了，你骂他一句，或者是瞅他一下，都吓得恨不得都钻裤裆里捅炮洞里，都吓得都不知道怎么地好。而且我还发现一个最有意思的问题，那就是他们呢脱裤子放屁精神。他们每次都是吃完大碗面，你说方便面不就是为了方便用的？但是他们呢吃完方便面还得搞清水洗得干干净净的，完事之后晾干之后再。那你那叫什么方便面？你就直接说是下挂面得了呗。说是就干这些脱裤子放屁事儿，表面瞅着他们非常的懂礼貌，但是你发现一个问题就是，他们把最好的东西，像食品什么的他们自己都留着了。他们把不好的东西，像我们常常说日本的核污染，他们在福岛周边有一些渔场，每次打捞鱼的时候或者打捞海鲜的时候都做那个检测，如果超标的话，他们绝对不会说是往自己国内卖。但是呢，你看他们的外出食品，不是说是检测超标了，再不就是发现他们的原材料不是他们本国的原材料，都是以次充好的往外面卖，而且还是垃圾分类，他们自己的垃圾分类非常的好，什么都给你弄得板板正正的。但是他们说是像塑料垃圾和基础垃圾，还有一些对空气污染的垃圾，他们都出口。就跟大家打一个比喻吧，就是同时是过日子，这家过日子之后，自己不好的东西，对家里有害的东西，他都扔隔壁了，他都扔人家邻居了。如果要邻居要骂你的话，他们又是鞠躬又是道歉又是怎么地，回头之后呢，他们该怎么办还怎么办，该怎么能还怎么能。所以说日本人就是知小礼而失大德，他们就是缺了花辈的那种感觉。像我们虽然说是在小节方面都不太在乎，但是我们心中有世界。在失败的时候嘛，我们会迎着失败而上；而在成功的时候，我们也会把自己的成功分享给别人。在需要的时候，我们也会燃烧自己，照亮别人。所以说，我们中国人才是最有礼德、最有德性、最有大德的人。总归一句话吧，中国人一个字来形容就是牛，2个字来形容就是牛逼。
所以说到最后，别再被那个全世界最有礼貌的民族的神话骗了。日本人所谓的礼貌，根本不是发自内心的善意，而是一种高度制度化的表演。它不是为了让你舒服，而是为了维持他们社会表面的秩序；不是出于尊重，而是因为害怕冲突、害怕失态、害怕丢脸。可一旦没人盯着，面具就掉了。你看那个日本女孩输得多痛心，表面上对外国人客客气气，背地里却投票给极端排外的政党，嘴上说着欢迎多元文化，实际上购买一些计生用品都严格控制，直到外国人侵犯的案件激增才被迫改变。而改的目的也不是为了女性权利，只是为了控制局面。这不是虚伪是什么？再看那位西方人，刚去日本的时候也以为进了乌托邦，结果呢，地铁上被人推伤没人道歉，老人用眼神把你盯在原地，女性被当成服务工具还得陪笑，没人哄你，没人骂你，但那种无声的冷漠和居高临下的疏离，比直接的粗鲁更让人窒息。这就是典型的礼貌暴力，用规矩把你限制，用沉默让你崩溃。而咱们中国人看得最透，日本人可以在吃完一碗泡面后，认真洗碗、晾干、分类再扔，把规矩做到极致，去把核污染水排进太平洋，把劣质食品专供海外，把塑料垃圾运到东南亚，在家门内一尘不染，在世界面前却毫无担当。这种只扫自家门前雪，不管他人瓦上霜的精致利己，配上那套鞠躬微笑的外壳，才最让人恶心。真正的文明，不是看你鞠多少次躬， 说多少句对不起，而是看你面对灾难时是否诚实，面对弱者时是否慈悲，面对世界时是否负责。而日本在这些大事上一次又一次地选择了逃避、掩盖、甩锅。所以别再把任天堂、动漫、樱花和现实日本混为一谈了。那些是商品，是包装，是用来卖钱的文化输出。真实的日本是一个在礼貌外衣下压抑、焦虑、排外又自欺的社会。今天这期视频不是要煽动什么，而是要戳破幻想，说明真相。如果你也曾被那种日本人都有好素质的滤镜迷惑过，现在该醒了。记住，礼貌可以装，良知装不了。我们下期节目见。
不想就去追，因为勇敢，我的人生更精彩。
中文真的是改变了，包括我说英文的样子。说真的，中文越学越觉得有趣，越用也觉得高级。
我们总以为每天说的母语稀松平常，甚至在学英语时觉得中文语法太简单，但老外却不这么认为。他们觉得这叫简单高效，反而更能凸显中文与众不同的高级感。今天这位老外可不简单，他叫李汉文，是一个在中国扎根了17年，娶了中国老婆，还生了中英混血宝宝的英国人，完全可以称得上是一个中国通，半个中国人。他最近分享了一个非常深刻的视角，他对西方观众说，学中文会上瘾。在他眼里，我们习以为常的星期、月份命名方式，简直是逻辑与简洁的艺术，而让无数中国学生头疼的动词变化。在对比了欧洲语言的混乱后，他直呼中文简直是神仙语法，太多我们完全不会在意的东西。在他的解读下，老祖宗传承几千年的中文汉字，其实处处隐藏着独特的人情味和处世哲学。他直言，学中文改变了他的性格，让他变成了一个更温柔的人。让我们一起跟随这位老外的镜头，用西方的视角发现中文的美。
小时候我也从来没有去想过英文到底有什么特点，对不对？直到我开始学中文的时候，有很多人开始问我关于英文的问题，对吧？那我才发现自己从小用的语言其实有很多这种隐藏的功能。所以说嘛，有时候还是真的需要一个坏人来看，才发现自己每一天接触的东西其实挺了不起的。所以今天我们就来聊一下我最喜欢的领外5个中文语言的小细节。第一，星期和月份开始，你得知道我21岁才开始，之前我接触的都是欧洲语言，在那些语言里面，星期和月份全部有属于自己的名字，而且只能背没有逻辑，没有规律。但中文呢，星期一、星期二、星期三，你在开玩笑吗？1月、2月、3月，我们为什么不这样，对吧？我们为什么要搞得这么复杂呢？1、2、3谁记不住 ？OK， 星期天稍微以外，但整体来讲，这就是简洁的艺术。而且你看的话，英文其实是有东西的。September 开头是 Sept， 这个 Sept 是拉丁语的7的意思，但是是9月份，结尾是 8的意思，这就是10月我第一次听到这个节奏呢，也是在上这个研究生1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、2、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、3、2、我真的惊呆了，就是用的像，完全不用记，差不多是 奏感和记忆力双赢，太棒了。第三，动词变形这件事情我每一天都在感谢老天对于英语为母语的人来说欧洲的语言最难的地方就在这里，就是动词的变化。如果你们在学英文的话，你们应该懂的但是如果你再去学其他的语言的话，欧洲语言的话，你会发现其实更困难。我们就看吃在法语里面它就已经有10个不一样的语气，而中文呢，吃就是吃，过去了对吧？加个的或者一个过，正在发生吗？加个在或是正在，对不对？逻辑清晰，语法简单，表达的完全不一样。我在英国经常会听到说外国人，就是对我来说是外国人，就是英语不属于英语的人他们讲英文的时候，他们可能发音词汇量各方面都非常好，非常到位，非常专业没有问题，日常交流没事。但是这个就是这个时态会往往就是不怎么样，反正蛮可惜的，对他们来说，但是对我来说，中文没有这些问题，所以非常感谢。第四没有为什么又是一个非常漂亮的一句话我第一个孩子出生的时候，这句话可以变成我公司的 slogan。我跟你讲，爸爸，我为什么要刷牙？爸爸，我为什么要睡觉？爸爸，我为什么不能吃巧克力？爸爸，爸爸，爸爸。没有为什么，没有为什么，非常直接，但又不粗鲁。用得好的话，它甚至还能表达一种淡定和谦逊，对吧？英文有个类似的说法叫做 "Because I said so"，但这种说法有点硬，而且有点这种命令的感觉。有时候我觉得英文也该借用这个 no why， 就是这个没有为什么多方面。比如长副词真的太不容易了。这个真的是我最爱的这个中文表达习惯之一不说看说看看，不说是说试试，不说聊说聊聊一个重复这个语气立刻就软下来亲切瞬间就纳满。但你讲英文的时候还得加很多废话，什么maybe you can try， 或者是would you mind 之类的。但中文这两个字试试就很有温度很有人情味。可惜这个用英文讲这个 try 或者是那个错，就听上去蛮奇怪的，就是有点搞笑比较可惜。我最近发现中文真的让我变成了一个语气更温柔的不知道有没有其他人有这种感觉就是你在学另外一个语言的时候，你会发现它改变了你的说话方式，不光是语言的问题是性格。你想事情的方式各方面都会有些那最起码在我看来中文真的是改变了，包括我说英文这个话我可以谈很久，所以我就不多啰嗦就先到这里。这就是我最喜欢的另外一个中文语言小细节。说真的，中文越学越觉得有趣，越用也觉得和气。你们有没有觉得中文好用？当然什么成语什么说法。
这些年在世界的舆论里，日本人经常被报道 礼貌、文明，最适合旅游的亚洲人。而中国人则常常因为说话直接、表达热情，被误解成不够礼貌。但真正同时去过中国和日本，甚至在两边都长期生活过的外国人，给出的答案却很不一样。下面这两段采访里，两位老外几乎都提到了同一个核心区别：日本人看起来很礼貌，但未必真的欢迎你；中国人有时候不够客气，却往往更愿意真正接纳你。来看影片。
What is the biggest difference between Chinese and Japanese? Listen, this might be a little bit of a hot take, but I think Japanese people are extremely polite, but not friendly. And Chinese people, they're extremely friendly, but sometimes not friendly. You know, you go to a restaurant and you sit down and the boss says, you know, but then they'll talk to you. The whole time they'll talk to you, you know, someone will come in, they'll talk to you, and they'll be really friendly. But in Japan, everyone just kind of lets everyone have their own space. And so they're like, but they're never saying, oh, you know what, thank you, this guy. You know, like, they don't actually care to ask you a question. And even if they care, they won't, because they think it might be rude to be personal. But in China, it's the opposite. It's friendly to be in your face, you know? Yeah, so I think that's the biggest difference I noticed at first.
So, like, is it, like, easier to interact with Chinese people more than Japanese?
I would say yes. And also, Chinese people's English is a little bit better than Japanese people, yeah.
I've heard that Chinese people really speak English.
I would say the young people, their English is way better than Japanese. And I think also Japanese people are so shy and afraid. So I think Chinese people, they're not as shy. They're more courageous. Also, there's more people. So you meet a lot more people faster. I'm originally from Australia. I lived the last 6 years in Japan.
What's the difference between Japan and China?
Chinese people are more friendly. Yeah.
Seriously?
Yes, very seriously. They be more friendly. For Japanese people, tend to be a bit more reserved. But they be friendly on the surface level. When you start living there, you really start to see the depths of foreigner. I don't like saying this, foreigner hatred. I don't like foreigners as much. They're not as welcoming. And I think over-tourism now in Japan is starting to burden a lot of Japanese residents and nationals there. When I come to China, I get more friendly smiles from people willing to talk to me. And overall, I have a better time here. Unfortunately, I don't like saying that, but unfortunately, that's the truth.
Yeah, but like, how come? Like, because you only are traveling in China, right? And then you live in Japan. Would it seem like maybe you live in China for a long time, you will feel like people not as warm as like maybe?
I'm not sure. I can't judge that because I haven't lived here for a long time or haven't spent too much time here. But I'm guessing it'd be more friendly. Gut feeling, yeah. Actually, if you're into spiritual stuff, I do a lot of numerology. China's a better country to me spiritually.
如果说刚才两位受访者的还是他们最直观的生活体验，那么接下来这两位老外就把这个问题说得更透了。他们直接给出了一个很多西方人过去不愿承认的事实：日本给人的震撼往往来自规则和距离感，而中国真正打动人的地方反而是热情与真诚。为什么越来越多真正来过亚洲、住过亚洲的老外，最后反而会重新理解中国人？看完下面的影片，也许你就知道了。
Hot take, but traveling to Japan as a Westerner is actually way more culture shock than traveling to China as a Westerner, but no one's talking about that because of obvious reasons. But when I was in Tokyo, I did not feel welcome. I did not feel like people wanted me there. I was actually being turned away from places. And I'm not saying people have to go out of their way to make everywhere to feel welcome. And I understand that tourism is a big issue in Japan currently, so that I might. However, when I was living in China, the people treat you completely differently. It's a sense of curiosity. Of course, they don't even ask for photos and things like that, but it's so much deeper than that. Like, they're genuinely curious about you and your culture, why you're there visiting them, their culture, and they want to teach you about their culture and welcome you into their culture with open arms. Whereas when I was in Tokyo, I didn't really feel like they wanted to share that with me in any way, which again, I don't want to sound like this privileged person, but I feel they have to share their culture with me to travel there. I get it, they don't. I'm just saying that I definitely felt more welcome and more at home and accepted as a foreigner in China than I ever did in Japan. Does anyone else feel this way that's been to both places?
I often see videos on Western social media praising Japan and how wonderful it is to travel there, but especially how nice the people are. And it made me realise there's an inherent and sometimes Overlooks difference between Chinese and Japanese people. Let me explain what that is. Japanese people are polite, but not friendly. Chinese people can be impolite, but friendly. For example, on the surface, Japanese people will be quiet, smile, respect your boundaries, but they don't want to engage in conversation, make a meaningful connection, and in some cases they may even hold a negative opinion of that person behind closed doors. On the contrary, Chinese people can be loud, direct, sometimes asking invasive questions. Are you married? How old are you? What's your salary? A better example is if you go to a restaurant with a group of friends, your Chinese friends will encourage you to eat more, even if you feel sometimes full or uncomfortable. This is a show of hospitality. These questions are inquisitive, they want to get to know you better. Deep down, this is a show of being friendly, but not necessarily polite. This can lead to misconceptions and unfair stereotypes. In the Western world, Japanese people largely enjoy a more positive reputation than their Chinese counterparts. This is so far from the truth. If you go to Japan, it's hard to make friendships, meaningful connections. In China, it's the polar opposite. It's very easy to make friends, get to know people better, and feel part of the community. I can understand why lots of people love traveling to Japan and have a great time. I'm no different. However, I think living there will be an entirely different situation. Living in China, much easier to make friends, feel part of the community, and be treated genuinely and honestly. What do you think are some other misconceptions that people have about China and Chinese people? And do you think my analysis of Japanese and Chinese people is fair, accurate, or completely wrong?
看完这几段视频，我觉得最值得琢磨的一点是，这些老外说的未必就能代表所有中国人，也未必能概括所有日本人，但他们绝对是值得参考的。为什么？因为说这些话的人不是中国人，也不是日本人，他们不是站在任何一方的立场上替谁说话，而是以一个外来者的身份，真真切切体验过这两个社会之后，给出的一手感受。恰恰因为他们不是亚洲人，没有我们这种天然的历史记忆和情绪保护，他们的观察反而更有一种局外人看真相的价值。很多时候，局内人会因为太熟悉而忽略细节，也会因为先入为主的印象而把很多东西看成理所当然。但这些老外不一样，他们来到中国，来到日本，最先感受到的不是文化趋势，而是那些真实存在的普通人，而普通人是没有边界的。这其实就是问题的关键。日本给很多外国游客留下的第一印象确实不错，干净、有秩序、礼貌、安静，这当然会让那些有边界感的老外感到很舒服。但一旦停留时间长一点，就会慢慢意识到，那种礼貌像有一种无形的屏障在隔绝着他们。你不会打断来看，但也很难真正走进去。相反，中国给不少西方人的感觉，恰恰是第一眼对比形式，有时候会被认为有点吵、有点直接、过于热情等等。可一旦接触下去，他们反而更容易感受到人与人之间的那种善意。有人问你吃了没，有人拉着你聊天，有人想知道你从哪来，为什么来中国。但是有时候这种热情会显得有点太近了，但你能感觉到它不是形式上的客气，而是真的想认识你、欢迎你。几乎所有中国人都是在自己内心的好处存在的知道，真诚热忱，善待远客。正所谓有朋自远方来，无以何处。而更值得注意的是，西方世界对中国长久以来的刻板印象，正在以惊人的速度发生转变。过去被片面标签化的形象，正在被一个个真实的相遇、一次次温暖的互动慢慢改写。说到底，一个国家给人的最终印象，从来不该只停留在高楼大厦、整洁街道、科技发展这些外在指标上。中国人的热情、真诚与友善，是流淌在日常生活里的温度，是陌生人之间不设防的善意，也是刻 在文化基因里的包容与厚道。显然，这些最朴素也最珍贵的品质，同样是支撑中国走到今天、实现民族复兴的关键力量之一。你们觉得呢？
Hello everybody, my name is Richard Spears from China. When I was young, I grew up in America. I only spoke English. And I knew that every part of every sentence started with so I spent and people ask me, why do you like, the origins of Chinese stories? Memorization. If you grew up with a child, so we spent a lot of time today I want to explain the character and what's life is better so you can understand why the character is but there's another word that has that character in it. Now this character I'm going to explain this character. You know that 70 years ago Chinese simplified Chinese. Now this character, this bottom part, it means two Some people say and this character is only there to represent the pronunciation. This character is basically not lost. Let's look at the old character, the traditional character. Pretty complicated. Now this character is really complicated. In most modern Chinese, I'm going to break this character apart and explain what it means. First of all, it means heart. So when you look at this modern character here, which is and it looks pretty cloud. What does a cloud have to do with writing? So it has to do with weather. The weather has to do with right. So let's look at this part now. This comes from the top part. Looks like this. And sometimes they used to make it like this. And it comes from things that look like plants. They look like sprouts. The sprouts on top means anything having to do with plants or gardens. So we have this component here, which indicates it has something to do with plants. So let's look at the remaining part here. Now this also means pardon me. Now this character has been around for hundreds of years, so these characters together are pronounced Q, and this character is pronounced wrong, but all those components are wrong. They're wrong because they got distorted over time, and so many parts of the modern characters are actually wrong. They are parts that have been, I call them remnants. Remnants are parts that have become wrong. So I'm going to write a character that how it should have been written before it was correct. So this is a character for she, and this is a character for her, and this is a character for a man kneeling with his hands out doing
The Chinese shopping center succeeded for 50 years.
Wow.
only that is so shocking. You can survive like this, but why would you want to? Not everyone should be a teacher. The things that they don't tell you about the teacher. Hey guys, it's Elisa Moore here. Looking at your channel on Instagram where I discussion sit down and chat with them. Great to discuss something that I think I as why avoid everyone is trying to find a work what I 中国特别多兰多人啊，是美国大好朋友，拜访粉丝几千万。他这次乌兰东的经历啊，在拜访新闻台上爆火，引流拜托网友集体围观。那是在湖南花草村，当时啊，村里正在为一位百岁老人办死丧，搭着大帐篷，场面挺热闹的。当时杜德伟和胡同儿因为骑了很久的车开路了，就想找个地方吃饭。人生地不熟的他们啊，看到场面热闹，还以为是一家特色餐厅。后来明白过来了，村里啊还是一家外没有见面，大家像朋友一样攀谈起来。我发现当老外的中文好像还带着口音呢，是不是？随后村民还邀请他们回家吃饭，一路上美国小伙开心的跟在大姑身后骑这段视频在拜访发布才1、2天就过百万的观看了。外国网友说：“这是我看过最好的一期，你们的当地村民就像真正的朋友一样交流。”还有人半开玩笑的说：“中国人为了能在中国人家里蹭顿饭吃，闯出了一场丧事宴席。”是啊，美国人怎么也没想到，在一个陌生的国度，看到了当地人的友善厚道以后，让他们中国媳妇给出难忘。而他们把自己的经历发到外网，让更多没机会来中国的老外看到了这些真实又感动的画面。谁看就得留个赞再走啊！大家有没有发现，不知道从什么时候起啊，好像世界变了。过去我们看过一些杂志，把外面的世界描绘得无比美好，公司的同仁们也不遗余力的吹嘘。今天咱祖国越来越强大，国际影响力也不断提高，再加上互联网发达，那交谈就像发生在我们身边，怎么能让人不动容呢？最近啊，外网上还火起来一个梗儿，就说中国的空气很香甜。英国女生在深圳随手拍的视频，把全城的统一的街道越拖越直，竟然有趣的城市风貌赞不绝口。一路报一路发，说这儿环境舒服，天气也宜人，待着。 但是今天呢，我都住在非常偏
看书有着我向南洋探险的决心。认真的让环球从今天路南洋，希望把新书是改变生存的从此。在阴惨的榕树下面，陪着紧闭行囊，我就说，
身体来了，我的大马华人希望。
啦啦啦啦啦啦啦。